Yes, marker training. So we use marker training with Maple every time we say the word yes. It means that we promise to deliver a reward to Maple. A good way to follow up with Maple after her board and train is to spend some time taking a handful of kibble and following the next instructions on conditioning her the marker yes. We want that marker to be super powerful so that when we say yes, she knows she's going to be getting a reward. In the next clip, you're going to see some examples of dog body language. It is highly recommended that you familiarize yourself with calming signals, stress signals, and communication signals that your dog will be offering you. The reason why is when you're training, you'll be able to see what Maple is communicating back to you. Is she uncomfortable? Is she stressed? Is she overwhelmed? And there are things that she will be able to communicate with you, and it will aid your training because you can switch up your training and turn it to go into something easy and easier task. You can take her from that environment and put her into a new environment, and you can identify things that she likes and doesn't like. Positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement go hand in hand, however, they can be tricky. When it comes to Maple, negative reinforcement is very important as well as positive reinforcement. Maple can sometimes frustrate easy, and it's important that we balance out the negative reinforcement with positive reinforcement. If we were to give it a generic percentage, we want to say we want to be using positive reinforcement 80% of the time and maybe 20% negative reinforcement. Now, again, we always want to be basing this on the body language and calming signals that we're getting from Maple. So positive reinforcement is adding something to the equation, adding something to the exercise like food, affection, praise, or play is a reward. So adding food to the equation can be the positive reinforcement. Negative reinforcement is taking it away. So a negative reinforcement would be taking a food item away. So for example, you present Maple with a handful of kibble, and she goes to grab the handful out of your kibble out of your hand before you say take it, and you close your hand. And now you've taken away the food reward. Now, when Maple stops trying to grab the food and sits politely, you will open your hand back up and offer her the food. Now, this negative reinforcement will teach Maple to have more patience and build her frustration skills. So, negative reinforcement for Maple when it comes to um, walking is we used it a great deal in terms of approaching an item of interest like a toy, a tossed treat, someone exciting on the other side of the fence, another dog, and we approached it. If she pulled, we would do a 180 and turn around and say, let's go. In this instance, the person, the treat on the floor, the toy, the dog on the other side of the fence that are all super exciting are the reinforcement. That's what's reinforcing for her, and we're removing it until she has a calm behavior, like walking nicely on the leash with slack in it and no tension. Then we will allow her to greet. So the negative reinforcement is taking away things that are reinforcing until we have a calm behavior. Now, this can work very, very well for Maple, provided that we're also doing positive reinforcement, meaning we're rewarding position all the time. Every time she's walking on either side of us in a nice position, we want to be rewarding her. So if we were to use, for example, the 80-20 rule, and again, this would vary depending on the situation that you're in, but the majority of the time we want to be rewarding her, and then when she goes to make a mistake, we can use a negative reinforcement by getting Maple away from the thing that's very exciting or removing the food. Name game, name game, name game. We played this with Maple every single day, numerous times a day. And we used her kibble. We also used treats. We also used a jackpot treat of a handful of rewards. So, name game is very, very simple. And it's very simple to similar to a reward marker. You want to say Maple, and she responds by looking at you, coming towards you. You're going to give her a reward. Now, all she has to do is respond to her name. She doesn't have to run and sit in a formal recall. We just want her to respond to her name and approach you. It's not a formal recall, it's just responding to her name. Now, having her daily kibble, it's very easy to get so much repetition in by just doing Maple and tossing a piece of kibble. Maple, toss another piece of kibble in another direction. Maple, give her a handful of kibble and get her to respond to her name all the time. The better she is at the name game, you will have so much more recall and so much more engagement on leash. Maple is very smart and very food motivated. So playing the name game, you can do it with her dinner on commercial breaks. If you're watching TV, you can literally sit cross-legged on the floor and just Maple and one kibble at a time, Maple. We also pair the name game with touch and find it. So it would be Maple, and she comes, touch, and she boops her little nose to your palm, which she knows, and then go find it and toss a treat away from you. Now, once she's away from you, you can move to another area, or you can stay stationary, call her back, Maple, touch, and then go find it again and toss it into a different area. And if you wanted, you could move into a different area and call her, or stay in the same area and just continually change which direction you're tossing the kibble. This is a really simple game that you can play with her every day that will boost her recall through the roof. Door protocols. Door protocols and baby gates were really hard for Maple when she first arrived. She was smashing through them like a bull, jumping over them, knocking them down, actually making them fly off the hinges. So it was really, really important that we slowed it down, used negative reinforcement. We asked her to sit. If she went to, we would put her hand on the gate. If she went to go through the gate, we would remove our hand. If she sat down again, we would put her hand back on the gate. We would open the gate up. If she went to go through, we would simply close the gate. So the negative reinforcement is you're not going to get the freedom or see what's on the other side of the gate or door if you jump up or try to barge through the door. So having this protocol will help you in a huge way when it comes to um, walking Maple and keeping her calm, because it also builds her frustration tolerance, impulse control as well. So please, please, please don't forget the door protocol.
Okay, door protocol. And here, Maple. Yes, good girl. I'm leeching over. Good girl, very good. Very good. Opening, but still. Good girl. Break. Good girl, Maple. And set. Maple. Yes, good girl. Awesome job. Yes, good girl. Get the payment.
Let's go. Let's go is a cue that we use to tell Maple that we're changing pace. We're either going to go faster or slower, or we're going to change direction. It's also a great way to get her off of a distraction by using the cue let's go. And let's cue means follow me. So, how we teach let's go is we put Maple on a long leash, or we can also do it on a short, regular leash, and we will allow her to go out and sniff, and then we will do a 180 and turn and say let's go, and we change directions, and we reward her for following us. We also do the treat drop where we're constantly putting our hand down in a treat drop at our thigh on either side of us, depending on what side she's on. As long as she stays in that ideal reward position, which is walking beside you nicely, you will take a few steps and just reward her, and you will casually turn right and say let's go. Then you can casually turn left and say let's go. You could do a 180 or 360, let's go. And this is another example of where we used toys and other dogs, where she would get excited to see people, and we would say let's go and turn and walk away until she can have calmness and slacken the leash before we would approach. One of the best ways to keep Maple's leash skills in check is to practice with no distractions. So practice it in the home where you feel confident. You don't have to worry about failing or making a mistake. And here we've just set up two items, and all we're doing is a figure eight, walking around them and having Maple practice staying in that position. So the reward position of either on our left side or our right side, so she's staying in a heel position. You can see it's very challenging for her. A couple times she's leaping up. So this is a great way to warm up Maple inside without distractions. She also really enjoys it. She's a happy girl.
Good girl, Maple. Awesome. Good job. There you go. Let's go. Good girl. We're walking down the street towards the end. Maple. Whatever she get distracted. Maple, here. Yes, good girl. Heel. Where are you? Yes. Maple heel. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. Okay, let's go. Good girl. Yes. Almost. Yes. Good girl. Eye contact. Good girl. Yes. Good girl. That's it. Good girl. She's right beside me. Yes. Good girl. That was good eye contact. I don't want to miss that. Did I drop it? Good girl, Maple. Heel. Yes. Good girl. Not quite. Okay. I'll put a position. Heel. Yes. Good girl. Yes. Heel. Back to heel. Where are you? Are you heel? Good girl. Yes, good girl. Back to heel. Heel position. Lots of distractions in PetSmart. Let's go. Yes, good girl. Maple. Heel. Yes. Yes, that's it. Good girl. Yes. Okay, Maple. Going through the food section. Maple. Yes, good girl. Yes. Good girl. Yes. Good girl. Maple. Here. Yes. Good girl. Maple here. This way. Come on. Let's go. Okay. Good girl. Let's go. And let's go. Good girl. Very nice. Maple here. Heel. Yes.
Maple here. Here is a cue that is a formal recall. When we say Maple, it's the name game. We want to get her attention, and then we want to say here. And here means run to me and sit at my feet and stay in a sit until I say break. So how we achieve this is we practice on a long leash without distractions, and we build up to distractions where we will use Maple and then here. When she approaches us and she's about 2 to 3 feet away, we do the hand command for sit at the same time, and she learns that this cue means to run and sit at your feet. And then we have her stay there until we say break and or let's go if we were to keep walking or go play, and then she knows she can get out of her sit and go have some freedom if we were to say break or go play. If we say let's go, it means she has to go from a recall to follow you. Practice calling Maple off of toys in the house and rewarding her with her kibble or treats, and practice here recall in the house.
Maple
She is
here.
very good at coming off distractions with playing with toys as well as with
Girl,
dogs.
Mapes. There's your kibbles. Maple! Bernie! Hip! Quick! Quick! Good girl. Good quick. Yes! Yes! Good girl. Good girl. Oh yeah, I dropped it. Yes, good girl. Break! Catch!
The middle cue, we also worked on the middle cue, which is a great engagement game. It can also be used as a recall game for Maple. If she doesn't want to do here where she runs and sits at your feet, you can ask her to do middle, which she thinks is super fun. So please practice middle with her. As you can see, she really enjoys it.